If you ever give someone an ultimatum to propose to you, you're essentially sabotaging yourself. With the First Date Fix, and today I'm going to be talking about dating and marriage. Before I even get into talking about the notion of dating and marriage, I want to get into some statistics with you. Conventionally, most of us in the Western world, our dating experience goes like this: dating, relationship, engagement, and marriage. That's what we've been neurologically programmed to believe in from birth by our parents, by our grandparents, and such. But marriage is no joke. 50% of all marriages end in divorce. The marriage rates are decreasing year after year since 2014. Researchers estimate that 41% of first-time marriages end in divorce. So if it's the first time you've been married, there's a 41% chance that you're going to be divorced. 60% of second marriages end in divorce. 73% of third marriages end in divorce. I guess just in case you don't succeed, do not try again. The United States of America is ranked 6th throughout the whole world in regards to the divorce rates. That means we're in the top 10 percentile of countries that are being divorced. Guess what number 1 is? Russia. Yeah, I was kind of shocked. Maybe they get cold, maybe they get bored of drinking all that vodka, and it leads to a lot of drunken disputes about how cold it is. I don't know. You know what? That's a bad stereotype. Delete that. Every 13 seconds, there is one divorce in America. Every 13 seconds. That's insane. I want to read this to you because this is pretty nuts. It says, that equates to 277 divorces per hour, 6,646 divorces per day, 46,423 divorces per week, and 2 million divorces per year. That's insane. Like, I honestly can't believe that. Like, I was shocked when I saw these statistics, quite frankly. And what are the professions with the highest divorce rate? I'll tell you. Dancers and bartenders. That makes sense. They're interacting with people every single day. And a wise man once said to me, people are only as faithful as their options. Oosh, a bit negative, but hey. And the professions with the lowest divorce rate? Clergymen. That makes sense. I very much doubt the local priest down the street is at the bars. Yo, boy, I'm looking to get some. Farmers have the second lowest divorce rate in the United States, which makes sense because if you're out on a farm with your wife, I very much doubt there's a lot of opportunity for you or to be near anything because you're out in the middle of a farm unless you're cheating on your wife with a cow. If that's the case, that's a problem that I really can't solve for you. I don't know anyone who can. So essentially, marriage is no joke. We are at the age of information, which means more and more people are thinking to themselves, why do I need to get married when I can just have a civil partnership with someone, or I can be in a long-term partnership with someone? When you get married and you get divorced, essentially that's a legal breakup. For example, if you're with someone for 10 years and you weren't married, you can just break up, be adults, and divvy out your belongings between each other. Whereas when you're married, you're getting the law involved, you're getting the legal system involved, and really whoever gets the most money and the most stuff is the person who has the most money. But let's talk a bit more about dating and marriage in general. So I came across a video by a gentleman by the name of Derek Jackson, and he was basically saying, when you go on a date with a guy, you got to ask them, you know, is marriage important to you? And you got to figure out if they're lying to you or if they're just saying, well, I don't really know. I'm going to know in the future if marriage is important to me because blah, 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 blah. And essentially, he was just forcing the notion of a lady having to ask a man about his opinions of marriage on the first date. And I just thought that was odd because isn't that the carriage going in front of the horse? It really didn't make any sense. And it reminded me of when I was on a date once and a lady said to me, do you want kids in the future? And I remember saying to her, I love the idea of kids, but right now I'm not really focused on that, nor is that a notion in my head because I'm not even in a relationship. In order to have kids, you want to have a relationship and possibly get married to the person. So if I'm not in a relationship and I'm not even married, why would I even be thinking about kids right now, right? So my point being is that dating and marriage needs to be very much thought out. before you come to a decision of asking someone that kind of question on the first dates. I always say that no question should be off the table when it comes to first dates, but I always think the questions that you're asking, you should be asking yourself and why that's really important to you. The present moment is the only moment that you have control over. So with that said, it's very important for you to put yourself in a situation where you're not frustrated with things that haven't even manifested itself right now. You need to live in the moment that you're in. Before you even bring up the notion of marriage with a potential person that you're on a date with, ask yourself, why do I really want to get married? Is it all that? I'm not deterring you from marriage by any means or by any shape or form, but what I am saying is it has to go deeper than, well, my friends are married, my parents are married, people in the Western world have been getting married for decades, right? It has to go deeper than a lovely wedding with all of your friends and music, because you could have that and just say, hey, we're celebrating our 5-year partnership. Come and have a party and get drunk with us, okay? It has to go deeper than watching romantic comedies. It has to go deeper than, sharing a mortgage with someone, because these are all legalities and things that you can get without being married these days. So ask yourself, why do you really want to be married? What is it about that legal monogamous part of your life that you feel like you need to have? And then you want to ask yourself, what do I want to accomplish? If I am married, it doesn't mean happily ever after. In fact, I hate that phrase, happily ever after. Hell no. When you get married, that's when your life with that person actually begins, because you have both committed to spend the rest of your life with each other. Which is why I find it so nuts that there is a 50% divorce rate, because I'm like, well, what happened? Like you couldn't figure out those things before you got married. You just kind of threw it out the window and said to yourself, till death do us part. And some other things as well besides death. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you should stay with someone who's a regular cheat or they're ass. But I am saying that till death do us part means till death do us part, through sickness and through health. Now, unfortunately, love is not unconditional. At least I don't believe it is, unless it's your children. But even then, love always comes with conditions. And you need to take that into great consideration if marriage is something that's important for you in the dating world right now. And then, before you even ask someone how they feel about marriage, are you even in a relationship? To have that be a focus. If you're getting into a relationship with someone so you can get married, you're thinking about it in the complete worst way possible. If you go on a date with someone and they say, yeah, I'm looking for marriage too, and the two of you ride off into the sunset and get married, you've gotten married for the wrong reasons. Oh, I got married to her because I knew marriage was important to her. I got married to him because we both wanted to be married to someone important. That doesn't make any sense. You need to have a solid relationship with someone. I don't know how long for, but you need to set the foundations of solidity before you even consider getting married with someone. It drives me bonkers how people can have the idea of marriage so ingrained in their head when they've never had a relationship that's lasted 6 months, when they've never had a relationship that's lasted past a year, when they've never even lived with the person, okay? There are literally people getting married where they've never lived with the person. Now, granted, some people can work it out and they can be very, very happy. But statistically, that's highly unlikely. So before you consider the notion of getting married, you need to work on yourself first. You need to be in a solid relationship where you can actually see yourself marrying that person, instead of saying, I'm dating for marriage right now. You're not even in a relationship. Date first. Get that off the table before you have consideration to a nice, lovely marriage. Ask yourself, what can you get in a marriage that you can't get in a partnership? Now, again, when I'm saying this, I'm not trying to tell you people to not get married, but I am saying that it's 2020. The world is changing. There are far more options and opportunities to do what feels right to you and your partner. I've heard so many stories of, I got married because my wife wanted to. I got married because my husband wanted to. They gave me an ultimatum. What? If you ever give someone an ultimatum to propose to you, you're essentially sabotaging yourself, because what's going to happen, no matter how much because what's going to happen is they're either going to resent you or they're either going to cheat behind your back, and you might not even ever find out, because they never really wanted to get married to you in the first place. They were happy being in a partnership for the rest of their life, which is not a bad thing. We need to stop shaming people who don't necessarily buy into marriage. Ask yourself, are you interested in the idea of marriage? Or are you actually interested in marrying the man or woman that you're in love with? The idea of marriage is a very romantic notion. You're with them forever, till death do us part, through thick and thin. But in reality, that's just not how the real world works. For some people, yeah, they can make it work. But 50% of people get divorced for a reason, because they've never really fleshed out their mind in regards to exactly what it is they want from marriage. Ask yourself what you can get from a long-term partnership that you can't get from marriage, and what you can get from marriage that you can't get from a long-term partnership. You need to really think about these things before you make a decision. Now, for those of you who are still sticking around and aren't scared of the notion of being married, let me tell you some things that might happen when you get divorced. 96% of mothers who go through divorce have custody of their children. So you men out there, if you're thinking about getting divorced, your chances of having custody are very, very slim. Over 79% of custodial mothers receive child support, while just 30% of custodial fathers receive child support. 98% of mothers who don't get custody of their children get no child support. The average cost of a divorce in the United States is 15 grand. 15 grand! Broken marriages can kill at the exact same rate as smoking cigarettes. For real! The risk of dying is 23% higher with divorcees as opposed to people that stay married. An article in the New York Times stated that of all the couples who go to couples counseling, 38% of them end in divorce. Marriage is awesome if you marry the right person. But before you even bring up the notion of marriage, when you're dating, don't just have marriage being the end goal. What should be the end goal of your dating experience should be having a strong, solid, foundational relationship where the possibility of marriage is very much a viable thing because you two are so solid together. Not, oh, I'm dating for marriage because marriage is so important to me. It has to go deeper than that. It has to go deeper than your family's morals. It has to go deeper than your religion. It has to go deeper than the connection that you have with that person. Why do you want to get married? Okay? Put that in the back of your mind and focus on the relationship and dating scenario that's right in front of you. Be present, be in the moment. I hope this video was helpful for you. Again, I am not against marriage, but I want people to think things out. There are far too many divorces these days, and I want you guys to be in a happy dating relationship scenario way before you even considered marriage. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Trey with the First Date Fix. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your morning.